Welcome to another episode of the Ballinesian Podcast here on the Polytickin Network. Someone's talking about sports. Charger and Raider fan, going to get into a bunch of different NFL news and any other sports talk that we come across here on this episode. On the Polytickin Network, make sure to support the Patreon, follow the pages, definitely follow the YouTube channel for the Polytickin Network. Follow, rate the stars, do everything you can to help us spread the word, spread the content. Shout out to Cepha and Marcus on the Polytickin Podcast. We also got the Pacifica movie starter kit with a bunch of different movies. If you think of an Islander movie, we've probably already covered it, done a 2-hour deep dive on it, so definitely check out the YouTube channel and the podcast or Apple podcast streams.
That's like a true 2 hours too, just to let you guys know. First couple episodes were pretty long.
Man, we were like talking through the entire story, explaining everything scene by scene, really
scene by
diving.
Scene.
Yeah, for real, scene by scene. The latest ones we've kind of compacted it a lot. Got every if you're gonna watch the movie, you can go watch the movie. You don't have to listen to us narrate it or
man. We gotta get our hands on a copy of Tina.
Bro, we're talking about Tina. That's
well, I mean,
a bunch of people
we have to.
Said it's great.
We have to go see it.
We would love to support when
that's what I meant. That's
hits a theater or becomes available to buy.
Right.
Ballinesian Podcast. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. We're here going to be talking about sports and the latest in the league, the National Football League. We are sponsored by Levasa Island Apparel. Definitely check out Brother Rai on the Instagram page, le_Vasa. He's like doing everything by hand now. Everything's in-house. It's not like he
doesn't have a third party. Yeah, he doesn't have a third party helping.
So definitely a local, someone who's really putting it on the ground floor. So definitely check out.
It's a little more intimate. So when you get your package,
personal, somebody's been working hard to make this clothing and also package it and send it to you. So definitely,
he's touched it, by hand.
So check out Levasa Island.
I don't know if that helps or hurts, but
no, that's a help. That's a help. And one of us. So shout out to Brother Uri. All right, Brother Forrest, we are here. We went through our big free agency episode last week, everything that was going on, all these people signing, definitely with our teams too, the Chargers and the Raiders, but all across the league. Looking back now on the opening of free agency, there's still some signings going on, but it definitely has slowed down after that initial floodgate rush. I'm trying to think of the biggest things that have stood out in free agency. Obviously with our teams, turning the page, building a new culture. You got Pete Carroll over there in year one with GM John Spytek, new minority owner Tom Brady. The Chargers in LA signing a bunch of depth pieces, trying to build on that Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman offense. And I think we came to the same conclusion for the Chargers and Raiders. It was kind of boring, but the right moves were made. I don't think you want to be the team signing $100 million contracts on day one of free agency. That means you haven't drafted well, or you're really trying to, fill a need or fix a big hole in your roster.
Exactly.
What has stood out to you in free agency, not just with the Raiders, but maybe even other teams that we see?
I think for me, it's the guys that stayed put instead of leaving. In free agency, again for the Raiders, Max Crosby. There was so much trade talk about him just because the team seemed like they were rebuilding and maybe they were going to go in another direction and not build around Max Crosby, but that wasn't the case. He ends up signing a new 3-year extension. I think it's something I want to say 48 mil, 50 mil guaranteed, something into that effect. Another guy making so much noise. He was actually the one making noise about leaving, Myles Garrett. It really looked like the relationship was unrepairable. Just because they weren't talking to each other. Right. Like he said some stuff like he there's no way he played back there, and then they threw the bag at him, and he was like, "Oh, jokes,
There's
jokes. I can
nothing
handle this a couple
$200
more
million
years."
can't fix.
Right.
Employee
And
relations.
then
You don't like your job? How about a lot of money?
how about a lot of money? Sure. I don't
Did
need
you
to
see
win.
did you see the press conference when they were asking him? It was like, how do you repair the relationship with the fans? Oh, it looks like this was just a ploy to get more money. Basically, like, you lied, and then you came back for the
And now
money.
you came back for
But
the
he's
money.
like, whatever. He didn't, that was not a great answer, but it was like, whatever. It's the guy's here to make money. He's making money. It's not, I don't
Right.
know.
And yeah, I mean, if you're a fan, you don't like to hear it, but hey, you still get to keep your best player, who's
Yeah.
also top 5 in the league. Not just at his position. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can argue that he's top 5 of
Don't
any
let
player in the league.
don't let your good players go.
Right.
That is the lesson learned. Like, it doesn't matter how much you have to pay him. Myles Garrett, definitely defensive player of the year, right? He's
Definitely.
a force on
He's
that
game changer.
that line.
Game
Yep.
changer. Definitely.
Some other guys that took a long time to get re-signed, but eventually just happened. The Bengals wide receivers, both Jamar Chase
They
and
got
T.
paid.
Higgins, got
Yeah.
their extensions. It's crazy how long they waited. But
Well,
like,
for
they were trying to
Jamar,
make Jamar the highest paid non-quarterback in the
right.
league. And then a bunch of people got Max Crosby was the highest non-quarterback for a little bit. Myles Garrett used that to bump even more. But now Jamar Chase and the Bengals end up paying top dollar. 4 years, $161 million for Jamar Chase. 4-year contract, $115 million for T. Higgins.
So Jamar Chase, I don't think anybody was I don't think they doubted he was going to be re-signed. I think just like the Bengals, they were just kind of trying to figure out all the numbers so they could get him the big number. But for Higgins, a lot of sources were like, "Oh no, he's about to get franchised again and not get paid." But good for Higgins. He didn't run right away and sign with the first team that was like, "Look, we'll pay you a little bit more than the Bengals," and he was able to get a solid deal somewhere he wanted to be, and he didn't have to leave to get it because he was pretty adamant about staying in Cincinnati, and he got the best of both worlds. He got to stay. He's got a little extra money in his pocket. Maybe a lot of extra money in his pocket now.
Yeah, a
So
lot. Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Both for them and the Bengals because they're a big part of the offense. And I know Higgins has been hurt the last couple of seasons, so hopefully he comes back healthy. Him and Jamar can really put the season together. And then the other guy who stayed put, who I was a little hurt about, but whatever. We got what we needed after he signed again with the Rams, after all that hoopla, because I kind of think he used the talk about him and Tom Brady meeting somewhere for dinner and talking over contracts.
Stafford?
Yeah, that
Wait.
bold-faced liar.
uh, the Matt Stafford and Tom Brady met at a ski resort in Montana.
Total coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Total.
Everybody's at that ski resort.
Yeah, they do that every
Always at the
summer.
same time.
Their families have been summering there for years.
That was, oh man, I to me it's like Tom Brady doesn't care, right? He's like, this is not tampering. This is not anything that they can prove.
Like, no, these are friends meeting for drinks in the mountains somewhere no one should see them.
no one can watch and see what they're talking about,
except for the employee who probably got really good money from TMZ. So whatever.
I'm sure someone recognized these guys, but yeah, Tom Brady is like, to me, anything, he'll do anything to make the team better, which is
To
like
win.
good and bad. But yeah, it's like, you're kind of skirting the rules there, Tommy. And he's like,
I mean, the only thing
deflate
that
my
really
balls.
what that really did was bring back light to what happened a few seasons ago when he met with the Dolphins owner on a yacht somewhere and
Bruh.
tried to scheme the league by saying, he was going to be part of the ownership or part of
and
the
then
coaching
become
staff,
part of the
and
field.
then the following season they were going to sign him to some great deal, but that didn't pan out. I mean, it worked out for Brady. He went over and got a Super Bowl in
He went to a
Tampa.
different Florida
Yeah,
team. Yeah. He still got his Florida team. He still
right.
got to play and win. Yeah. How would we feel? I know you're very pro Raiders and whatever they do, it's like good. But how are you feeling about Tom Brady? Are you excited about him? Do you think he's like a positive for the franchise?
I'm excited about his energy that he's bringing into the franchise, to the organization. Uh, you know, coaches used to make fun, even players, like if you're not cheating, you're not trying to win. You know, and they were right. They were right. You know what I mean? They were so right.
And that's
You know
a
what?
saying because it's true.
It's so true. You know what, Tom Brady? All this time, people were talking so much shit about Tom Brady. Excuse my language. Just bad mouthing Tom Brady. In actuality, Tom Brady's a good guy. He just wants to win. You guys just don't see it from his perspective. If once you get from where he's trying to come from, then you realize Tom Brady, he's actually a pretty good guy. And I'm
7
glad
Super
the
Bowl rings, and he's going for more as an owner or as a president, whatever he's doing. He's kind of like an executive.
I really think I think he's trying to build his resume, and just so happens that he's able to. I don't know if he'll stay with the Raiders for long term. How the ownership is going to go, if he's going to do it for a couple of seasons, kind of like to get, as they say, his beak wet and like see how operations go, and then finally kind of maybe take majority of another team. I because that's what I really think he wants, is to be like a majority owner.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like,
what?
I think so, because I think that would be
Just
the
don't
next
have the
step for
money
him.
for that.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
I
Some of
mean,
this, I
6
mean,
billion. So you would need at least $3 billion to own
yeah,
half of it.
I think he's close, at least.
Whoa,
I think
hell no.
I think he's close. I think he's got money that we don't know about, but he also has a pretty bad divorce that he was going through, so we'll see. But I
Yeah,
I, I I do think that he wants to be in a bigger role, which is kind of crazy because Mark Davis is kind of giving him like a really big role, and he's only
yeah,
a
like head the
minority
ship.
owner. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he's working out a deal there to become more of an owner percentage wise.
It's
You know?
it's work. Oh, maybe buy more shares of the
Yeah,
Raiders.
yeah,
You think he
yeah.
would? Would you be down if eventually Tom Brady, maybe like in 10 years, bought the Raiders from Al Davis, or at least a
I mean,
majority stake?
to answer your question first about like the cheating, I mean, of course, from a standpoint of like morality wise, of course, I don't want to see that, like, all the wrongdoing. But as a fan, you can get behind it. As a fan, of course, man, there's a whole bunch of fans that were probably hated Tom Brady from like before, but just seeing, and we don't even know if he's directly involved in some of these deals. We're just going off of it because his name is always involved in these deals. It could just be Spy Tech and Carroll, but we're all like, no, Tom Brady's doing all of this.
Yeah,
That's our guy.
Tom
So
Brady's the Elon Musk of the NFL now.
I
It's
was just
like
about to say that. I was
it's
just
like
about to say that.
he's not officially connected to Doge. Well, he's running Doge. Like
But he's just running it.
he's
Yeah,
just trying to make the organization better.
right. He's
Okay,
just trying
the
to do
things
something
he's
better.
doing is just in the long run, it's gonna work
Yeah, it's gonna
out.
help. And then to the second part of that question, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him um take. It would be sad to see the majority leave the Davis family
Mhm.
because they've been so iconic, not just with the Raiders, but in the league itself. Even Mark Davis as an owner. I mean, his dad is the person who people really associate the Raiders with. Al Davis was, win win win, so but Mark Davis also, with the time he spent in the league, has put on some wild shows out there for people, if you want to say.
What do you
He's
mean?
also just some of the things he's done, like, he's out football wise, like some of the
Oh, the
deals that he's
decisions.
okayed,
Okay,
yeah, some of the
yeah.
decisions he's made. And yeah, to see it leave the Davis family would be sad, but also to see Tom Brady as a majority owner. whatever that looks like percentage wise, would be kind of cool to see. Just because we've seen him work miracles in the NFL, on the field, and
Mhm.
I think that could transfer off the field.
I'm not saying that he knows like how everything should work, but I mean, he's obviously been a winner for a long time for
Right.
like his career, and I think that kind of I guess aura. A lot of people are signing or saying, Max Crosby himself, he was like, I signed this extension because of Tom Brady,
Yeah.
because I like the way that he's moving. I like the way that they're talking about the future. Uh, yeah. So
And
the
he's
Raiders getting Tom Brady, I was like, okay, that's kind of a gamble, but he can bring people. And then they brought in uh Pete Carroll, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good,
great.
get things going. Uh, Even signing Chip Kelly is like a big
That's big.
like upgrade
That's big. Yeah.
for a big piece of the team. So
E-
yeah, the Raiders making a lot of good
Even if
moves.
it's
And
just a name. Yeah.
what? Oh, Chip
And
Kelly.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we've seen his work, so he's proven. But also, just in the name alone, Chip Kelly's a big name
Mm-hmm.
in college football, in the NFL world.
People are gonna buy in. People are gonna
Yeah.
be glad to be working with those type of people, and
And
that's
to think he's just a minority owner. He probably has, I don't even know how much stake he has in the team, but he has so much control already, even if it's indirectly. So yeah, you definitely would love to see a guy like that be a bigger part of the organization that you cheer for.
says 5%. Brady is a
That's-
partial owner of the Raiders. Him and Tom Wagner were each approved for 5% share of the franchise.
I feel like that's still
That's
a
a
lot though.
good, bro.
Yeah,
If
right?
you can sell it to someone who's also
Right.
gonna buy in and help you make the product better,
Yeah,
that's an
yeah.
easy 5%. Yeah, take that. Damn. Okay, so Raiders looking good. No major overpays or anything.
Not yet, not so far.
Mhm.
I
Well,
know a
you
lot of
guys lost really good players who got good contracts, but you
no.
also brought in the same position players for a lot less than what the guys
So, and that's a
we
lot of
got.
people. There are analysts. It's like on both sides of the spectrum. There's some guys out there. If you watch some of these shows, gave the Raiders a F grade for
What?
free agency so far because they think that they've lost much better players and just signed these replacement
Okay.
players who aren't as good. And then there's guys who look at the numbers and are like, if they're not comparable to the guys they lost, they're better than the guys they lost. So
Wow.
like two sides of the spectrum. Like the linebacker they got from Pittsburgh, he was like number one against the run last year, by percentage wise. I know the statistic
Nice.
is deeper than that. Like it's something that we'd never track on our own. But he was rated as the number one linebacker against the run last year. Um, what was it they said? They got a couple young cornerbacks. Stokes from Green Bay, who was a number one pick, and I guess maybe Green Bay is kind of like, well, he didn't pan out for us,
Yeah.
so we're gonna let him go, and maybe he can pick up somewhere else. But if you're a number one pick, obviously there was some scouts out there who really thought you could be in the league, and he's still in the league. He's still in the league. There's a couple of safety that they signed, who also has shown flashes in the league. So a lot of potential in the signings they've made, and yeah, I mean the biggest one, of course, was the trade for Gino. And people are going to argue again like he was a problem in Seattle. Um,
No.
I will say he had his problems in Seattle, but
Mhm.
they didn't have a great line.
That part.
It's any quarterback, if there's interceptions thrown, sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes receivers aren't supposed to be where they're supposed to be. Sometimes they're slipping somewhere or something like that. And
Mhm.
uh, but you always saw the effort out of Gino trying to win. So that's one thing you want to see. That's great. Not that AOC and Minshew didn't have the effort. It didn't look like they were putting forth a
Right.
good one.
Right.
And yeah, Gino,
Gino, at least it looks like he's trying to get stuff
yeah,
done.
and he didn't have the great season that Sam Darnold had, but he had from when he came back, when he joined the Seahawks. From then on, from the time he joined, and now that he's leaving, he's always been consistent. He had good seasons. It wasn't like just one good season and then the Raiders were like, well, let's trade for him because he had this one good season. He had a few good seasons in Seattle. He was also the reason his first season there when he popped off was why they went to the playoffs. Like he was part of that resurgence of wins there in Seattle. So I like that sign is going to be big. He is, if anything at all, he is an upgrade from Minshew and AOC.
Right. I feel like a couple years back, the Chargers signed Tyrod Taylor to be their like bridge quarterback.
And then they sabotaged him.
And then they sabotaged him. They stabbed him in the heart, or they stabbed him in the lung.
In the lung.
They stabbed him in the lung with like a cortisol shot or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Justin Herbert had to be forced into action in like week 2, and ended up becoming, a starting quarterback. But that whole offseason, I was thinking to myself, right when we got Tyrod Taylor, I was like, cool. All right, so we got Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be the veteran quarterback as Justin Herbert like kind of learns this stuff. I really bought all the way into it. I was like, yeah, cool. We can just be a running team with a decent quarterback. He's not, he's not
a guy that
Phillip
control
Rivers.
Right.
He's not Eli Manning even, but at least he's Tyrod Taylor.
He can manage the game. Yeah.
Yeah. Just manage the game while the defense and the running game works. Let the young quarterback kind of do you see Geno Smith as like a, more than 1 year as the quarterback of the Raiders, or do you think this was just to get things rolling?
I think it's more than 1 year. I don't think it's going to be like he'll be there for like but I think I'll give him about 3 years there. I don't know if they're going to find the guy they want in the draft this year. Maybe if Sanders falls to 6, they're going to have to consider drafting him. Just if they're thinking long term. I say that because I don't think Cam is going to drop that far either. If he doesn't go first, he's not going to last till 6. That's just the talent that he has and how he's been evaluated. So, and how he's being valued by other teams. But I think if the Raiders if Shedeur falls to 6, then I think they consider picking him at 6. If they go into like the 3rd round and Jalen Milroe still there, I think they have to consider him. Just kind of he fits the mold of a Chip Kelly offense quarterback, Chip Kelly scheme quarterback. Especially if you run a 4-3, you know what I mean? At his size, with a cannon for an arm, by the way. So I don't think Geno's there for more than that first contract if they extend him, which is what they're looking at right now. I think they gave him a guaranteed bonus already of 16 mil. I think that's what he got.
Nice.
And that's a signing bonus, even though they haven't given him the extension or agreed to an extension yet. So, I think he's worth at least 3-4 years there.
Okay, that's pretty decent. Like some people were thinking, it's going to be quick. Geno's going to be out as soon as they get the rookie set up or something like that. But he did sign that. What is it? A 3-year, $100 million? No, that was Darnold. What did he sign for?
That's Darnold. Damn, I just had it in front of me too. I forgot.
He signed a multi-year contract.
Yeah, and so that's why they're trying to extend him because I think it's next year his contract is up. So, yeah. What are you excited about the Chargers?
I am buying into Najee Harris so quick.
Right. Well, I mean,
at first, was it you or Mike that announced it in the chat? It was like Najee to the Chargers. I was like, that's whatever. It's not exciting, but it's good depth. Najee Harris, 250 carries a year, over 1,000 yards his first 4 seasons. Didn't, become like a super workhorse with the Steelers, but Jalen Warren's out there. I thought he was a free agent this year. Sorry, he's still on the Steelers. I was like, the Steelers got no run game. What about Jalen Warren?
No, I think he was. I think they extended him.
Oh,
if I'm not sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Najee Harris is going to be, a running back that doesn't miss time, that is going to get a lot of volume, right? The Chargers, Greg Roman's offense is run the ball. So Najee Harris might be really good in fantasy, might be even better in real life. Like,
well, we know they're not bringing back Gus touchdowns. Right.
They cut Gus Edwards. They haven't re-signed J.K. Dobbins. Right. They got Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal. So, Najee Harris to the top of the Chargers running back depth chart.
I know they were big on those the two younger guys though, Haskins and Vidal. I know they were pretty big on them like coming in, not to be like the starter right away, but as developmental pieces, but they really like their talent coming into the league. So I mean that might be a really good backfield and a guy get to learn from in Harris, because he seems like a Greg Roman type of running back.
If it's the system, someone you want to just be able to pound the ball, find your J.K. Dobbins kind of scat back, Darren Sproles type to break through a tired defense for long gains, but you got to have that wrecking ball that kind of sets the pace and keeps the offense ahead of the chains, or at least along with them. Not getting into, you can't take losses on first down and being second and long. That really sucks for a running offense. So the Chargers also brought back Khalil Mack, $18 million guaranteed for one more year. Really going to help keep that consistency with the defensive line after losing Joey Bosa. Tuli Balotu is going to step up, so that's cool. The Chargers signed a couple of free agent DBs, cornerbacks, which makes me worry a little bit about Cam Hart and the other rookie DB that we got out of Maryland. So, drafting those two, I mean, and both of those guys were 5th round picks. Cam Hart and I'm forgetting the Maryland guy's name. So I was like, oh, did we just find 2 starters to in the 5th round? That's crazy. No, we didn't. We signed some extra guys. So hopefully those guys at least learn from these incoming free agents.
I know they like Cam Hart a lot though.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers. I know they like Cam Hart a lot, which is why they went out and got him in the 5th round. And then during the season, he did some good work for them.
Oh, showed up a bunch of times.
Yeah. I mean, the pedigree he comes from, it's hard to argue the pedigree he comes from. Like, he came from a program in college that's just amazing.
You're talking about the college?
Yeah.
What college did Cam Hart go to?
If I'm not mistaken, he went to the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Funny I'm saying that, and I'm wearing a JuJu Watkins shirt right now. But
Tarheeb Still was the other 5th round corner out of Maryland, who also a bunch of picks in some of the late games.
Look, just to ease your mind, it's the NFL. You can never have too many DBs because of the schemes that people will come out offensively to run against you.
Yeah.
So some people run nickel more than they, more in the game more.
4-3 or 3-4.
Right. Yeah. Some guys are running.
That's why I do it, Madden. I'd rather have a DB out there than a slow linebacker.
No,
but in Madden, it's like people are running 4 verts, people are throwing deep all the time. So it's like I want to be able to. I'd rather cover the tight end with the safety if it's not like 3 wide receivers than have like a DB on the receiving tight end. But yeah, so Chargers, Raiders making some moves, definitely setting up the cultures that their organizations and their coaches want. And exciting. It's exciting that it's like things are going good. There's not any obviously big flaws or anything like that. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, talk about Brock Purdy, Tetairoa McMillan, and JuJu back with the Chiefs. But I wanted to shout out to Scoofius, who sent this art. I can't show the whole thing because freaking Zoom. But yeah, this was super dope to get some pieces from him sent in the mail. It's like 11 by 17. It's huge. Got the bloodline dying over here. Tribal chief in the middle, as well as the rest of the young bloodline, and then everybody else in the family. I also saw that that's neither here or there. Lance Hawaii is with WWE, signed to WWE, but hasn't come out yet, and it's been like a year, and everyone's like, "Where is this guy?" He's right here. Yeah, that's dope. Shout out to Scoofius. Scoofius.art to look at his entire catalog and be able to purchase any of these pieces.
So dope, man. Put up the Polytickin network one again.
Yeah, man. This he custom made, like he drew the freaking Polytickin network.
Wait a minute. Why y'all look like linebackers when y'all really look like linemen? That's crazy.
I know. Yeah, no, see, he even makes us look. So this is the strongest I've ever looked. Look at those forearm muscles. If you're not, if you're listening to this, sorry, but yeah,
the
definitely.
Detail though, like the facial features, that's dope because it looks exactly like you. That's dope.
I've never had anyone draw a picture of me. This is great. This is like, I'm like, bro, this is so dope. Yeah, shout out to Scoofius. Scoofius.art. Go and buy some.
Go
not
buy
just
some.
Wrestling, all sorts of different
hell yeah
pieces there. So shout out to Scoofius. All right. JuJu Smith-Schuster back with the Kansas City Chiefs. He had like a so down year. I'm kind of worried about it.
I think I don't know if it's a down year. I think it's the year that I think it's on par with his health at the moment. You know what I mean? So we can say it's a down year because the numbers aren't comparable to the seasons he's had before, not just with the Chiefs, but with the other teams he's played with. But I think it's par to where he should be, the kind of season he had. So I'm not too worried about it. I feel like they brought him back because one, he's probably really good for the organization and for the community there. And two, there's probably young guys in there that he's probably bonded with, like maybe Xavier Worthy, and he's kind of showing him stuff there too. So, I mean, it's pretty smart to bring back a guy like that, a locker room guy. And I really feel like Juju's that type of dude who's a big locker room guy. So I think it's a good signing for the Chiefs. Obviously, a great signing for Juju because he still gets to stay in Kansas City and be part of a great organization who knows how to win. So, but yeah, stats wise, I know what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
What year did Juju join the league? 2016 or something? 2015?
Yeah.
Damn, it's been like 10 years. I still think of him as like freaking just
young
coming
guy
out of USC. Yeah, just like still got the springs and stuff. 2018 with the Steelers, 111 receptions, 1,426 yards for JuJu Smith-Schuster. This is playing across from Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
AB Boomin. He entered the league as a second-round pick in 2017. Okay, and the next year he had 111, 1,400 yards. In the 2022 Super Bowl run with the Chiefs, he had one of his best seasons since then, 78 catches, 933 yards. But then you have the 14 games that he played last year. Like you said, coming off that injury, he was injured in New England. That one year he went to New England before coming back. He only had 18 catches for 231 yards. So, and a bunch of that came in a 7-catch, 130 game versus the Saints in week 5. So the production looks like it's dropped off, but hopefully it's for that, getting back into shape, getting back into to the system too after coming back to a new team. But you hope that in this system, Andy Reid's offensive genius system, with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, it starts to like kind of do better, right? Like better opportunities, and he's still a hard worker that's able to kind of convert those opportunities. But getting back with the Chiefs, I think that shows like, I mean, it's not like a crazy contract. I don't even see what the deals are, but I feel like if it was a lot of money, we know
I was about to say usually when the post
the agent's like, I got this deal 3 years, 400 million. Right. This one is like Juju has re-signed 1-year deal with the Chiefs.
Right.
But shout out to Juju. Fight on, keep it going. Hoping to see that return to form here. But damn, 2017, almost 10 years in the league. That's food.
Hey, it's been, and while we're on our Polynesian brothers from the league, exciting news for Steeler fans. You guys have a new D lineman on the roster in Daniel Equali, who has signed with the Steelers. Great organization for him.
Nice.
He has his fans like in the league. A lot of us who grew up back home or are from back home know of Daniel, have followed his career, you know, whether he was in college and now in the NFL. But to go to an organization like Pittsburgh, where they have a very big Poly fan base, that's pretty dope for him. That's pretty cool. He also has Isaac Somalo out there. He's got Troy Fautanu with him out there. Jalen Warren. So I'm pretty sure there's other dudes on the line who are playing. That's great to see for him. Daniel's a real humble dude. He's always working. Like him and Frankie, they work out every summer. They know it's a business for them, a job. So there's no real time off for them. They'll take a week off to relax, and then like they get right back to it. You can see videos of them working out all the time. They work out with the young cat who is in the draft this year, TJ Tuimoloau. So that's cool to see, man. Like especially for Daniel. I'm happy for Daniel. I'm pretty sure everywhere he went was good for him. He was in New England this past season, for the past couple of seasons. So he had a really good playing time too in New England. He was a starter for a lot of that time. So now that he's in Pittsburgh, I hope he makes some noise out there. But I'm really glad that he's gonna have like a little bit bigger Poly fan base at least. So
that's a huge point. I feel like it's also a responsibility when you play for the Steelers as an Islander. Is like you're gonna have a lot of people cheering for you. You got to do things the right way. You got to work hard. You got to show up. And those guys on the Steelers already know, like, this is like Gladiatorville. This is where people go and like try their best. They man the freaking weather. They give their all. You got T.J. Watt, Cameron Hayward, who said he's tired of waiting for Aaron Rodgers. He said on his podcast, he was like, I'm not doing no darkness retreat. I'm tired of all this, but I'm not doing no recruiting.
Of course, man. But yeah, he has that, and also they all have the shadow of number 43 casted over them.
Yeah,
the things that he did.
Why everyone's a Steeler fan,
right? Was why everybody's a Steelers fan. But so great for Daniel, man. Great for Daniel signing over there. Shout out to him. I know that should have been part of shout outs, but we talk about our Poly brethren, and then
another. I mean, again, speaking of JuJu, another Poly wide receiver, Tetairoa McMillan of Arizona, just did his pro day. 6'4", 220-ish pounds. Ran a 4.48 second 40-yard dash at his pro day. So 6'4", 220, running a 4.4. How does this affect his draft slot? I feel like people have been saying he's one of the best wide receivers available in this draft and probably going to go first round. Does this push him up to the top half of the draft? How far do you think? How early do you think Tet's going to get drafted? Sorry, I don't want to call him Tet, but I've been hearing people calling him Tet, and it's starting to get
because they can't, like, a lot of
Tetairoa
or Tetairoa, or what I mean. You hear stuff like that, so it's an American thing where, hey, you know what? Let's just shorten his name, even though that's not his name.
Oh yeah,
because we can't pronounce it. Hey, Tet, or they call him T-Mac because they can't say his name anyway.
McMillan.
Look, they were just on what is the young wide receiver, Bo Nix's brother, that from Oregon, the wide receiver.
Bo Nix's brother?
The kid that ran like a 4.5 40, but he weighs like 154 pounds. It's not his blood brother.
Tez Johnson?
Tez Johnson. So he's small, his size, he ran like a 4. They were on him about it. They wanted him to run faster. Look, they wanted him to run a 4.4. So at his size, imagine him. All he needed to do was run a 4.4, and his draft stock or draft talk, because we don't know how far it's fallen. We haven't seen teams yet and their draft boards, but from the 4.5 to the 4.4 would have made like a world of difference about how they're talking about him now. At that size. So imagine Tetairoa running a 4.4 at like 6'3" to 6'5", 220 pounds. Just he was already being mentioned before the combine as being in the top 10 range of being drafted, and then people started, like, teams had their needs come out, so he dropped a little bit, maybe into like the 12 to like 20 range. But I think him running a 4.4 at that size kind of just maybe catapults him again back into the top 10 range. He's already people really think he's the number one wide receiver out there. Luther Burden would probably be another big name out of Missouri, but other than that, I don't think there's anybody else out there worth taking, I think, value wise with that pick. There's some it is a deep wide receiver class, I can tell you that. Uh Maybe not like in like the top 20 picks, but the receiver group as a whole going into the draft is pretty deep. So a lot of teams believe that if they don't get Tetairoa, they can get a receiver later in the draft. But Tetairoa is probably the one guy that people either move up for or take it early. So uh with the 4.4 was important, I think, for him because he didn't run at the combine and he was on the sideline just like he was actually pretty good. He had a really good impression on people as he was on the sideline, just checking out the combine, checking in with his teammates who were over there, and just yeah, kind of like a media darling while he was out there talking to people, talking to teams, talking to the media. He was like, "Look," he had an interview, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm just a good guy." You know what I mean? Just, I'm a good guy, man.
She said, "What do you want teams to take from this experience, and what do you want them to know about you?" He was like, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, I'm good for your organization.
You don't have to worry about me. I'll be good.
I'll be good in the
community. I'm like,
I'll be good for the
this
community.
Sounds like someone who's had a bad history. Sure. Hey, I'm good now. I'm chill now.
Man,
I'm looking forward to see what teams pick him.
And then just for like the I don't want to say the evolution of the poly skill player, but like because you do have like guys like JuJu, Jalen Warren. We've had some quarterbacks play in the league. Marcus Mariota, of course. Guys like that. But I think as a wide receiver, that skill position for uh, Polynesians or Pacifica people, I don't think we've seen a wide receiver this highly regarded coming into the draft.
Yep, true.
So great to see. And just we saw him from the time he got to Arizona, just put on a show for people in Tucson, in the Pac-12, former Pac-12, sorry.
The Pac-2.
Yeah, the Pac-2. Actually, no, I think they got some teams to jump over. So anyway, yeah, great to see. And I think the 4.4 really, if it doesn't like help him get back into the top 10, it just solidifies his position as a number one receiver in the draft. So great. That's good for him.
We're about 5 weeks away from the NFL draft. And then after that, it's camp. After that, it's preseason. And then we're back in the
league, baby.
Back in the games. I'm thinking, I just thought of that when you said McMillan is the highest regarded probably Islander wide receiver in history. We should go in one of our next episodes leading up to the draft, like the best position wise, who is like the best player going into a draft that people liked for Islanders.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've also, last thing on Tetairoa is I've seen, I think these are Chargers slanted articles. They gotta be, because they're like, mock draft, Chargers get McMillan. And I'm like, at 22? Are you kidding me? I'm saying,
pick
22? Look, there's no way.
When other teams started coming out with their needs to fill, that's when he started to fall, into that range a little bit. And certain positions, some guys were coming up and they were posting numbers at the combine, posting into their pro days, and people were looking at tape again. But also, how hard would it to be for someone's agent to pay some analyst to be like, look, you got to say this about my guy so he can get up in the draft. I'm pretty sure that happens. So yeah, he didn't drop because of what he's done. It's just other guys started moving up on the boards, and it placed him, and it mostly had to do with team needs. So, but I think with that 4.4, and he hadn't ran at the combine, so people were like, well, does he really run a 4.4? Is it
Yeah.
a sub 4.5, or what's he gonna run?
Is he
So
a
now that
big slow guy? Ugh.
right, exactly.
He's a
Which
big
you've
fast
never,
guy.
yeah, he's a
Ooh.
a big smooth fast guy. So yeah,
True. Smooth.
yeah.
Yeah, the route running. Yeah, definitely skills there. All right. Last few topics before we get out of here, or I guess this is the last one. Uh we talked about the 49ers absolutely getting gutted in free agency. So many people left, highlighted by you know, recently injured safety Talanoa Hufanga, as well as recently injured linebacker Dre Greenlaw, who's freaking reportedly the heart and soul of that defense. And a bunch of other players are gone. I think they let go and then re-signed Kyle Juszczyk.
They
But
traded away Jordan Mason.
they're trading people away. They're losing people to other teams in free agency. To me, the situation that they're in the fourth year of Brock Purdy's 4-year rookie contract, uh, either he plays this out and enters free agency. They probably franchise tag him in
Right.
2026, if they don't get a contract banged out. But seeing all these good players leave and sign for big money elsewhere makes me think the 49ers couldn't afford to keep all of them and sign their, quarterback of the future,
Franchise quarterback. Yeah.
their franchise quarterback who's going to lead them into the future to a 250 million dollar contract. Uh, I think one of the biggest problems in negotiating on Brock Purdy's side is that everyone knows he was the last pick in the draft. Everyone still has that tag of 7th round pick when they think of Brock Purdy. I know I do. Um, and when you're negotiating with someone who you think of as a 7th round pick, it's like, oh, we don't need you. We don't
Right.
really. I mean, we don't have to pay top dollar for you. Um, but there's two roads, right? The Niners stick with what they have, which hasn't been, the best, but has been really good for a bunch of seasons. If Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt, they get to like 2 Super Bowls in 2 or 3 years. Um, so you keep him and you keep it going with Kyle Shanahan, who looks older and older and freaking like by a decade every year. Or what I would like to see is you trade this man away. You let go of Brock Purdy because you showed that you can do this with basically anybody in the draft. Uh, as far as Kyle Shanahan's concerned, like you can make any quarterback a good quarterback in this system. Is it the same as like turning Sam Darnold into a good quarterback, right? With the Vikings last year because he was in a good situation with good weapons. Um, I think it's kind of like that. Like you could put in like freaking Jacoby Brissett, Jameis Winston, even. Well, maybe not Jameis Winston. He likes to
I was about to say.
he likes to give the ball away, but you could have like vets. You could have young guys come and step into the Shanahan system, hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, make the throws when they need to. Or do you think Purdy has something special that they want to keep him for?
I mean, if you're asking me, I'm going to decline to say whether or not he has it, but I do think San Francisco believes that he has that extra juice that guys like Jacoby Brissett, who's been given a chance already on multiple teams to take over as a starter and to lead franchises and hasn't done it. So I think that's another reason you don't go with some of these guys that are available. Because, like you said, yeah, if you have an offense, you can stick somebody back there and they can do like the bare minimum and still have you win, but that won't get you over the hump of getting into a Super Bowl and winning it. And we've seen Jacoby Brissett in the league again, like we said, like I just said, take over for teams, and he hasn't done it. So you're kind of weary about signing guys like that, even guys like Russell Wilson, who were probably able to do it before, but as we can see, has lost a few steps, if not many. Guys like Aaron Rodgers, who even if he was half the person he used to be, which he is not, he's not worth the locker room toxicity that comes with him. The guy, right? And when I can talk about it, never mind, because it's just gonna bring more light to him. But yeah, I think the organization believes that he has that extra sauce, and I think they're comfortable with paying him, also because I think maybe there's some things that they've schemed in that offense that fits Brock Purdy's game. So if you went ahead and traded for somebody else, of course, he's Shanahan's supposed to be this offensive guru. Like you said, you can just bring somebody else in and kind of tweak the offense again to fit that next guy. But I think they're already kind of set with Brock Purdy. I think they do believe in him. I think they like him.
Mm-hmm.
And the offensive line is good, but like you were just saying, Sam Darnold, his weapons were still there. He could have resigned. He didn't. For Brock Purdy right now, he doesn't have all the weapons there. McCaffrey is a good start. Jennings
Oh
Jennings
yeah,
produces. Jennings
traded
produces.
Debo,
Traded
looking
Debo
to
there.
reportedly looking to trade Ayuk.
Yeah. What's Kittle isn't he isn't top tier Kittle anymore. He's still good tight end. I
He's
think he's
still
still
good.
better than I think he's still got more juice than Kelsey right now.
Hmm.
So you got him, Parasol, just a
Kittle's turning into one of those tight ends that's like better in real life than they are in fantasy. Like he was
yeah,
a
no, for
fantasy
sure.
monster too, with all
For
those run
sure.
after
Yeah. And now
catches,
he's one of
and
those
now
guys where you can watch and be like, no, that was hella good. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you don't have to look at your fantasy numbers to be like, no, he's good. Now you can actually watch the game and be like, oh no, yeah, he's
Yeah.
dope. They
He's not
still
getting the
got
ball
they
thrown
still got
though.
some guys, but of course they're not Jay
Oh,
Jetta, so I mean, yeah.
at quarterback for San Francisco, the Niners have been doing this. They've been signing a bunch of like vets to 1-year contracts. They signed Mac Jones to a 2-year up to 2-year $7 million contract. To be the backup for
I mean, I didn't even like Mac Jones in Alabama. So
no, I like Mac Jones as like stepping in for Brock Purdy when he gets hurt this year at some point and Mac Jones has to play. I know Mac Jones was like terrible in the last couple years in New England before he got shipped over to Jacksonville, where his parents live, and he stayed with his parents. He's like, yeah, I'll go back home and play a year behind Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Mac Jones had to step in, and he did pretty good. But now especially because reportedly the Niners were trying to draft Mac Jones in 2021. That year they traded up to number 2. They ended up taking Trey Lance, who didn't work out. They sent him away. But Mac Jones in the building, I think he's going to do good. But like, if you can do good with Mac Jones, do you need Brock Purdy? Like, do you need it? Well, of
I
course
think
you
you do.
want to have a good quarterback, but you don't have to pay Mac Jones $250 million. It's one of those like, can you get 90% of Mac Jones or 90% of Brock Purdy out of somebody like Mac Jones?
No,
Or,
I don't
that's
think.
one thing. I think the Niners system can do it. Like it's one of those. It's like Jalen Hurts. He might not be the greatest quarterback, but his system, like his line, his skill players, Super Bowl
I'm
winning
with you.
quarterback. I'm not saying
I'm
that's
with
Mac
you to an
Jones,
extent. No,
but
yeah, no, but I'm with you to an extent. Even with the Hurts comparison, like Hurts, yeah, but he's also good for that system. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? It's not like you can,
Okay, yeah.
And I think Purdy is the what he does best on the field is what Shanahan's offense is best at too. You know, so Mac Jones, I don't know if he's a good fit there, skill wise. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
like the throws that he's gonna have to make. Um, they also like to get Purdy out of the pocket sometimes, moving. There's no way Mac Jones is doing the things that Purdy does outside of the pocket.
Hey,
Stop it. Stop it. No, stop
hey,
it. Stop it.
McCrinkle got some. He got some
No,
moves.
no, we don't. Uh, you know what? And then you mentioned I would have gone out, looked to correct my mistake earlier, and I would have re-signed Trey Lance to a cheaper contract.
Oh wow.
I would
Okay.
have re-signed Trey Lance, and then whether or not they can extend Purdy, then they have a guy who has comparable skill set that might be able to
Much
run the
better athletic
offense.
skills.
Much better athletic skill set. Probably not. I think maybe like reading the defense wise, Purdy might be better at that. But if Purdy goes down, you still got a guy who can get outside of the pocket, move with his legs, has a strong arm. Now you just got Mac Jones who can roll like 2 inches out and then get tackled or trip over his own feet. So
Mac Jones does not look good under pressure. That's true.
not at all.
But he can wiggle. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's our show for this week. Thank you guys for tapping in, tuning in to the Ballinesian Podcast here on the Polytickin Network. Definitely make sure to check out Levasa Island Apparel. Also, any shout outs before we go?
Yeah, man. Shout out to family, man. Shout out to Chelsea Gray for winning the championship with Rose BC in the inaugural Unrivaled Women's Basketball League.
Champion.
Yeah, man. And I put it on my story. Like, I'm gonna start doing it like I do it when I shoot a paper basket 3. I know
Chelsea.
your age people were screaming Kobe. Mine was screaming Jordan. I think it's about time we start screaming Chelsea because all of the last seconds, man, the game winner she hit in Unrivaled and in the WNBA, it's crazy. I know.
How do you do it? How are you gonna shoot?
Man, you got to do her bam 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 bam. You know, the double and then Chelsea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, shout out to Chelsea for winning the championship with her teammates Rose BC. Shout out to her wife Tipesa and her son Lennox. Their family to me. So love to see them, man. Great to see that. Just always great to see your people winning, man. You know. So shout out to them. And shout out to you and Sammy and Nora for just a great little family, man. And I know you're gonna shout out little one, so I'll let you do that. But love to see it, man. Thanks for always letting us be a part of what you guys do, man, because it's always fun. And then just the time we got to spend with you guys at Top Golf was so fun. You know, it's too funny because like, yeah, we don't see each other like often in person. We do see each other like over FaceTime, so she still recognizes me. But Noah and PJ, she hasn't spent much time with Billy, but she's super curious. She just wanted to hang out with them. But for me, was even the best because a lot of the times she just wanted to crawl into the chair next to me. And I was like, Uncle Forrest, can I just sit next to you? I was like, yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? And it was like, that's super cool. And then, so yeah, man, that's my shout outs, man. That's my shout outs.
Shout out to the baby, Nora Jean Asalulu Falitongo, who turned 3 this weekend. Yeah, 3 years.
A long time, bro.
That's a long time, but it felt so like
quick.
Yeah, it felt like we were just coming back from the hospital last week with her as a newborn. And she went from like a tiny little squished up infant to a freaking climber, tall, running around, big hair, so big voice. Yeah, it's great, man. It's cool. I am very lucky to be a dad and to freaking try to do anything I can to help support and raise her up right. She's freaking actually she being a jerk like the last month. She was nice to y'all, but we get home and she's like, "No, Dad, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm trying to help you. It's dinner." Getting bossy, but yeah, man, just freaking. I feel like one of the underrated things about becoming a parent, aside from having a little friend, is that you get to like do kid stuff again. Like I was coloring this weekend. I was at the library coloring freaking snacks, little games and stuff. I get to build blocks every day with her. She just wants to build a tower, knock it down, get frustrated, build it back up again. But yeah, it's cool to be able to get to do that stuff with her and to do it again. That's like joyful activities.
Hell yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, shout out to all the parents out there. That shit is hard. Shout out to the aunties and uncles. Appreciate you guys. All the support that people bring. It really does freaking take a village. Shout out again, Levasa Island Apparel. _Vasa, LE_VASA on Instagram. Also the website, www.levasaislandapparel.com. Yeah, brother, you're right. Doing everything by hand, doing his own shipping and stuff. So
just know all the love that goes into the stuff that you order. You know what I mean? That's a lot of effort and love going into the stuff that you order. So,
and again, shout out to Scoofius. Got the art here. If you want to get put on some
Fire.
of this freaking the cultural art. And it's also hand drawn by him. These are all customs that he draws himself. So that's your supporting artist.
Scoofius to make me look.
What, make you look
6'6" and chiseled?
See,
I need to be behind Sefa. Harder than Sefa. That's where I need to
be. Bruh. Yeah. And to also do this freaking custom Polytickin network super buff guys art.
Right. Yeah. Look at Sefa over there, Trap House.
Yeah. Shout out to Scoofius. www.scoofius.art. SKU FIS. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tapping in. Appreciate you guys for following us here. Ballinesian Podcast on the Polytickin Network. We'll see you guys same time. We'll see you guys next week. Definitely hit us up if you have certain topics you want us to talk about. If you have anything you want to add to the conversation, DM us at Ballinesian on Instagram and TikTok, or ballinesian@gmail.com. Also, shout outs, anything else like that. Would love to be able to spread the word out to the community and the people that are listening. But yeah, thanks for tapping in. Go out, have a great rest of your day, rest of your night. Keep being great. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay balling. Love and light. Peace.